Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video talking all about my new camera. Well, it's not so new anymore. I actually got it on Cyber Monday, so I've had it for a few months now and I'm absolutely loving it. I recently bought the Sony a7 III. I wanted a mirrorless camera and this was just the best one that I found, and I thought that it would suit like my needs well and everything I wanted to use it for. Today specifically I want to talk about the difference between this camera and my old camera. The one I'm filming on right now is the Sony a7 III, and I used to solely shoot on my Canon Rebel T3i. So if you know about these cameras, you know that they're pretty much the most basic like entry-level DSLR that Canon has to offer. I actually got this camera in 10th grade, so it was like my first big camera and it really got me into photography and videography, even though I obviously can't do nearly as many great things as this camera can. But it definitely was a great start for me and I love this camera. It's like my pride and joy because it's what got me started doing a lot of my creative stuff. Of course, I've always had a camera in my hand. My first real cameras were Sony Cybershots and Fujifilm point and shoots, but this was my first like big camera. But it served its purpose and it was perfect for me, and I will still obviously use it from time to time. But I thought it was time for an upgrade, so I went ahead and got this Sony camera, and I just want to do a little bit of a comparison today and kind of show just the differences I've noticed so far having both of them in hand, and kind of seeing just like how much it really is an upgrade or what's the difference and what kind of compares. So I'm gonna try and insert some footage of both cameras, like the video and photos from both, and kind of put them side by side and show you guys a comparison in that way, and just kind of go through the body of the camera, the settings, things like that. I do have a photography and a videography side business, kind of like away from my job and YouTube, but I would not say I'm an extreme pro at all. I have always loved photography and I've always kind of been into it, but there's still a lot of things I'm not like a complete expert on, which I'm hoping I'll be able to take some time this year and learn a lot more about all the things I like to do camera-wise, photo, video. So I always kind of had it on the back burner, just like from school and work, and it was never really something I dove completely into to learn every single thing I could about it. But I do know a good amount, and I think I'm able to at least kind of compare these two cameras on the surface level and show you my opinion between the two and if it's worth to upgrade or what kind of the differences are between the two cameras. Also, I hope this setup looks okay. I just got my ring light, so I'm starting to use that, and I think that's definitely gonna help improve the quality of my videos in the future. And like I said, I'm really gonna try and get a lot more into my photo and video work and really put the effort into buying better equipment and just upgrading all my stuff. But other than that, let's just jump right into this video. I am going to show you guys just kind of like a surface level look at this Canon, since like I said, I'm filming on the Sony. I guess I'm going to try and cut at some point to filming on the Canon so you can kind of see the difference. But I think I'm actually going to do an overlaid clip of me showing you the settings and looking at the body and everything. So right off the bat, I feel like it's so weird honestly to pick up this camera now because I'm so used to the Sony. I honestly think the Sony might be heavier. I'm not sure. This just feels, I just feel like the Sony, you can tell it's like better quality, and not necessarily if it's heavier, but this feels kind of like hollow, and the Sony is a really dense heavy duty camera, which I think is really nice. And this is just like kind of that cheaper plastic all the way around, and I think the Sony just overall feels better in the hand. I actually like the grip of the Sony camera a lot. I feel like it fits my hand really comfortably because it's more rectangular, I guess. You see the Canon here has kind of like this indent, and I guess that's like convenient because you can hold it really well like this. But while the Sony has that as well, it's like the other end is also just a proportioned rectangle shape. So here you can see it kind of like has a curve down and it's a little bit uneven. So I do like that the Sony is just kind of straight all the way across, and I can pick it up and it can honestly be packed a little better, and it's not as abstract in the way it's shaped. So I do really like that about the Sony. It's very comfortable to hold, but again, we're talking about the Canon first. Right now I just have a 50mm lens on this camera, so usually the kit lens would be a little bit bigger, but I found obviously that most mirrorless and DSLR cameras, you detach and attach the lenses all the same way. I wasn't able to use my Canon lenses on my Sony. I think there's some kind of like adapter you can get, but I was like, why not just buy new Sony lenses? So I'm gonna have like my Canon lenses for this and Sony for my other camera. So I do think it's worth it to invest in buying like the specific lenses for what kind of camera you have rather than just using an adapter. So my Canon, I've always had this same camera strap on it, and it's lasted me, like I said, since 2013, so a good long while, and this camera still takes amazing quality photos. I do think it's worth it, especially if you're starting out. The whole Rebel series has great starter cameras, and even I think now they're probably up to like T7 or T8. definitely T7, but they might already be up to 8 or 9 now that I'm thinking about it. But this is a T3i, so it's pretty old, but it does have like the flip out screen, and I think the I is what makes it like have that, and it's a little bit of like a step up. But my sister has a T6, which has like Wi-Fi connection and all of that more like advanced stuff, when this is too old to have any of that. I don't find myself using that feature so much anyways on my Sony, because I mean, I'm using it right now to control my phone. But when it comes to transferring files, I always like to do that through my SD card anyways. So that wasn't a huge problem for me with this camera, but it is nice to have that ability to do Wi-Fi connection, which you can't do on the Sony. But yeah, I will always recommend this camera, especially I have a lot of people come to me with questions about photography or video, and I always recommend this as a good camera, and any of the lenses that I have, I try and give them a lot that go with this model of the Canon, because it is really affordable and it's a great way to start out, like I said. So like I said, this isn't meant to be a super professional, like give you every single measurement and every technical term under the sun. I kind of just wanted to give a more general overview and kind of just my thoughts of having both cameras. So I'm not going to probably list like every single spec and measurement and weight, but of course that's like also available online if you really wanted to compare. I think before going into showing you guys the exact settings and menus for these cameras, I'm going to kind of just go ahead and give my overview and thoughts. I know I already talked a little bit about this Canon and how it is a great starter for anyone that's looking to get into photography or video, but I definitely think that the upgrade to the Sony was worth it, especially in the video aspect, because this isn't meant to be a video camera, and I think Sony's really great at offering both with their cameras. It's just as good of a video camera as it is a photo camera. So that is one thing that I will never regret, because it has improved my video quality so much, and especially because I want to start getting into more creative film, it'll definitely be helpful for that. Just having a mirrorless camera in general is going to give you that better range to be able to take those better quality pictures in video. I haven't really been able to do it too many of the creative films I want to start doing yet. I just haven't really had the time, but I'm so excited because I know that the Sony is going to allow me to do that. Where I took this on every trip, and this Canon took all the videos that I've had for other creative film I've done in the past. Of course, it wasn't the best quality, but it kind of almost gave me that style of like being kind of documentary-esque, and even though the videos were choppy because it's not a very stabilized, nice camera, I kind of like that look for the time being, and the videos I was making, it worked with it. But again, I'm so happy that I upgraded, and I do think it's worth it if you are looking to kind of up your game and you've had the same camera for a long time and you want to look for something a little bit different. So far, the Sony has been great, and it has, of course, like features like autofocus, which this didn't have for video, and just so many different features that you can get a little more advanced in your media production. When it comes to taking photos, I will still confidently say that I could work with this camera for photography and be perfectly fine. I have a 50mm lens for both cameras, and I've taken pictures on both at the same time, and I'll show you guys kind of a comparison of both. Like I'll take the same picture on both cameras so you can see, and there's never too much of a difference. And I always tell people that it's not so much about the body of the camera, but it's about what lens you buy. Even though the Sony is providing more megapixels and just an overall better quality of photo and video, I do think you can achieve just as pretty pictures with a Canon Rebel. That is something that I haven't seen as much difference with as opposed to the video. I definitely have noticed that when you are doing like post-processing, anytime I'm editing photos, you can tell with the mirrorless camera that it's definitely capturing a lot more information, because like I can zoom way super far into a picture I took with my Sony and it's not going to get blurry at all, as opposed to the Canon, you know, it kind of gets a little fuzzy as you zoom in. But again, from first look, you can definitely take some awesome pictures with this Canon, and then the Sony is just a way to kind of improve those even more. One thing that first stood out to me about the Sony is that the display is fully digital, even when I'm like looking through the viewfinder, which is something I always enjoyed about a Canon. Obviously, is you have this viewfinder where you can just see like what's directly in front of you through that mirror, and it's just like looking through glass, so it's complete to real life. You're knowing exactly what you're looking at, and it kind of threw me off guard. I mean, I should have expected it, but when I looked through the viewfinder of the Sony, it's a complete digital display through the viewfinder as well. So just know when you do make the switch, if you're getting a mirrorless camera, that's probably going to be the case, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It was just a little bit of an adjustment, because I was so used to just seeing real life in front of me through this viewfinder. But that being said, the digital display, not only through the viewfinder, but also just on the screen, is great. I've always been able to see really clearly what I'm taking pictures or video of. Again, the biggest change and I think selling point for getting a Sony camera is if you are wanting to improve that video quality. I'm pretty sure this camera could definitely shoot in 4K, and just having that those frames per second, that allows you to get that really like slow motion video. It's really crisp and smooth, as opposed to if I was using this, it would be really choppy if I ever put anything in slow motion. So it's really great again for that cinematic kind of look, and if that's something you want to get into. The Sony camera actually has a setting, it's called like the S&Q settings, so you can basically pick your frame rate there, and you can either do a video sped up or slowed down right away, so you don't even have to do it in post-processing. It'll shoot it in that format right then and there, which I really enjoy if I'm ever doing like a time lapse, or if I know I want to shoot a whole project in slow motion, I can just do it right away. So I've loved that feature. I think it's awesome, and I think that's something that Sony has had in a lot of their camera models. I didn't really touch on price points. I'm not really sure exactly what the newest model of a Rebel would run now. Probably anywhere from like $400 to $600, depending on like if you get the certain kind of kit. I think I got this for around $4 when I was, again, it was like 2013. I'm not sure if it was the same model, or I don't know if it was the newest model at that time. But if you are looking to upgrade it to one of the Sony a7, like they have a bunch of different models in that series, you are going to drop a little bit of money. Like I said, I bought this on Cyber Monday, and I still paid over $2,000. I know it seems like kind of a lot of money, but again, it really did improve the quality of my videos, and I do think it's worth the investment. Especially with my photography business, it's going to pay itself back. So for me, I felt like it was time to do that upgrade and really drop the money to improve the quality of my content. Sorry, this video is kind of all over the place. I know I've jumped from pros and cons to price point to everything, but like I said, I just wanted this to be a super casual, like sit down, let me just share my opinion. Like I said, I'm not like a tech channel, so I'm not going to give you every little spec and number and detail. I just want to give my thoughts overall, so sorry that it's a little bit all over the place, but I hope this is inspiring you guys to possibly upgrade if you're wanting to, or know that you're safe getting a Canon Rebel or something like that, because you can still make awesome content with a camera like that as well. So I think that's everything I wanted to talk about for like a little overview, and I think I'm going to jump into showing you guys kind of the menu and settings in comparison to each other. And of course, like I said, at some point in this video, I'm going to show some side-by-side clips of both photos and videos from each of the cameras. So here's just a closer look of the Canon. You can tell, like I said, that it has kind of like a different shape, and it's a little bit bulkier, I think, but at the same time it feels pretty light. You can see it's definitely got some wear and tear on it, and yeah, it's been through a lot. You can also tell by all of the scratches on the screen. So I did invest in a screen protector for my Sony that I'm filming on right now. Also, don't mind the ring light and all the fingerprints, but that's what happens when you have a camera for this long. It's not going to look in perfect condition, but everything still works great. And I did like that this Canon has the flip out screen, because the Sony did not come with that feature. Like I said, I can control it from my phone or computer as like an external monitor, but it is nice to have this, especially if I'm like recording myself and I want to be able to flip it around. So I did really like that feature about the Canon. And I wish that the Sony came with that. So I think the newest model of the Sony series came out with that screen, flip out screen, but it's a very expensive camera, like way more than the one I got. So I figured I could just stay pretty basic with the Sony for now. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it in and turn it on. So you can see right now I just have it on program, I guess. I haven't used this camera in a while because, again, I've been using my Sony for the most part. But basically you just have all of your different buttons on the back here, really similar kind of to how the Sony's set up. But again, when I pick this up, it's almost weird because I've already gotten used to where everything is on the Sony. When you go to the menu, you just have all these different settings, which again is pretty standard for any camera like this. Again, I'm just going to go through this really quickly because this isn't supposed to be an in-depth compare all the settings kind of video, but you're able to change the quality of your videos, all these different things. A lot of these I wouldn't really mess with unless I was doing like manual stuff, but you have like your exposure, white balance stuff, different display settings, which is pretty standard. Again, this is going to be in any camera menu. You can do stuff with your card, like protect your images, or do things with the different file settings, format your card, and then more, what's it called, like settings for just the setup of your camera. So that's in that menu, and then you have just like the information button here, and then your display that will change like based on what setting you're on. So then you have things like flash off, just auto, program. You can shoot manual here, or over here you have like different things like portrait mode, close up. I didn't really use a lot of these settings. I did use sport sometimes, so I can like use my shutter faster and get more action shots if I needed to. And then your filming is all the way over here. So I guess I can take the lens cap off. It's really zoomed in because again, I have a 50mm right now, but there's no autofocus for video, but it still does the job. On any of these settings, you can use these directional buttons to do things like your white balance here, or exposure. You can hold this down and then use the little scrolling knob. And then this is where you can do like self timer, continuous shooting. Yeah, yeah, different things like that for the settings. And then you just have playback right here, which I have nothing on the camera right now. So pretty standard. It has all of your different settings. Like I said, that will be pretty much on every camera that you look at. It's going to have the same kind of thing. You can put an external flash, tripod, battery goes down here, and memory card goes in here. So yeah, definitely covers all your bases. It actually threw me off guard that there's no built-in flash on the Sony, and I'll show you that. But you can pop the flash on this if you want it. It's obviously better to have an external flash anyways, so I'm not too bothered by that, but it is really convenient to just have this one built in, especially if you're starting out. That is it for this camera, and just an overview of the body and the settings. I am gonna have to film on this right now to show my Sony, so even there you're gonna be able to see the quality difference, and like I said, I'm gonna put in some other clips to show them side by side. But right now you're gonna be able to see right off the bat the quality difference whenever I start filming on this camera. So here's a look at the Sony, and this is being recorded on my Canon. The audio is probably gonna sound a lot worse too, so sorry about that. But this also doesn't have autofocus, the Canon, so I'm gonna have to manually focus it when I'm showing you guys this camera. But this is a look at my Sony a7 III. Now that I'm holding them, I'm doing both these clips like holding them side by side, it does feel a lot heavier. It's probably because the lens too, because I mean this is just the Sony kit lens, but I haven't gotten around to getting some new ones for filming, so I'm just filming on that. But it does, like I said, it has a nice grip, and this is where you can kind of see it's a little more rectangular and just kind of a easier size to carry and work with. But yes, it definitely feels very substantial. I'm just going to turn it on, and like I said, I'm going to have to adjust the focus on my Canon here. As you can see, though, the quality on the Canon that's recording isn't too bad. You can get pretty good shots still and good clarity, but this is what the Sony display looks like, so you can tell that it's all digital, and you even just have a lot more on the screen to work with. Of course, it's on video mode right now, but any of these different settings are going to have similar adjustments as the Canon, just in different places. So here's your main menu. I was on the network because I was getting my phone connected, but with the Sony you have a lot more options when it comes to your photo and video settings. So this is just picking things like your file type, ISO, focus modes, different things like that, exposures, shutter, flash and white balance. All of that is in this first menu, and as you can see, it tells you like how many pages are in each section. And then this is kind of like the video recording settings. So you can do S and Q here. That's where you pick like your frame rate. Different things for audio and stabilization, things like that are in here. Your grid lines. All the different video, like I said, is in here. Shutters, and you can do like different focus settings. So yeah, a lot of things I still want to explore and look into more so I can like better understand what all of them mean. Because like I said, I am getting more into like creative film and want to learn a lot more about that. Here is where you can do all the network stuff. So like I said, this does have like Wi-Fi connection capabilities, and you can control it with either your phone or your computer as like an external monitor. You can do all the Bluetooth stuff through here. This is just like playback and file stuff. So all the file protection and modes and things like that are here, and then just setup of the camera. So display, and I think this is where you can put in like your date. Just all these different folder settings that I usually don't even ever have to mess with. So yeah, that's basically an overview of the menu settings, and I haven't gotten around to doing this yet, but I think I can set these C3, C4, all of that can do a certain function if I want it to, and I just haven't figured out what I want to do for those yet. But here's your playback, you change your focus, everything like that. I'm gonna put it back on movie. Here's that S and Q I was talking about, so that's when you can film in slow motion, and your exposure is actually over here this time. The shutter, on and off button, timers and shooting modes are usually in the same kind of place, and you can use this dial to adjust a lot of those settings. So, and then just have this record button. So again, everything's pretty much standard, and you can end up getting used to and finding all these different settings on whatever camera you have or are looking to purchase. But that was just an overview of the Sony, and it was really easy to adjust. I was so scared at first because I was so used to my Canon. It was really easy to adjust to. I was so scared because I was so used to my Canon setup, but this is really easy to use. And over here is where you can have 2 SD cards, so that's really nice. Whenever you're filming or doing a big project and you want to have double the space, you can do that there. So that was the overview for the Sony a7 III. So those were the hands-on comparisons of both of the cameras, all the settings, everything like that. I hope that was helpful if you guys are wanting to see kind of an inside look of both types of cameras and what you're maybe possibly looking to get or upgrade or not upgrade. Overall, it's just fact that the Sony camera is more advanced. It's going to be a better camera for you and things you want to do with it probably, but it is at a higher price point, and I did want to show that the Canon still does great work, and it's definitely something great to invest in either way, because neither of them are cheap. So if you're wanting to get into photography, I do recommend either of these cameras. Definitely for video, Sony is the way to go, but you can still make some awesome content, like I said, with the Canon. But yeah, this camera has served me for 8 years, the Canon, and I think it's just awesome to have like something that can start you out and then have the opportunity to upgrade in the future. So don't ever feel like you're behind or getting something that's not as good as it could be, because it's all in due time that you can later upgrade your equipment or look into other things to get to like build your setup. So I hope you guys liked this little look into my opinion between the Sony a7 III and my old Canon Rebel T3i. Like I've said a million times, they're both great cameras, so you can't go wrong either way. I just hope this helped give a little bit of insight about the differences between the two. Again, on kind of like a surface level, just casual kind of way. Overall, I just hope this video was helpful, and I hope you all enjoyed, and thanks for watching.